are just rolling right along on this Tuesday morning. This is Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk, Mississippi. Thanks for being with us. If you want to join the conversation, you're welcome to do so on the C Spire text line at 601-879-4395. Looking for game-changing technology? You need C Spire on your team. 5G wireless, fiber home internet, and business IT solutions built as tough as you. Learn more at cspire.com. C Spire, inspired by you. Picking up a conversation that we started yesterday with regard to legislation that went to conference and emerged from conference in the legislature on Friday and was quickly disseminated to law enforcement and other people across the state of Mississippi, and the reaction was concerning, I think. Randy Tutor joins us. He is Chief of Police in Pontotoc. He's president of the Mississippi Association of Chiefs of Police. Chief Tutor, good morning. Thanks so much for your time.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
So let's just kind of jump into this. I spoke with law enforcement officials on Friday afternoon who were trying to work their way through the 247-page PDF that came out of conference in the legislature, and it would regulate but also allow hemp-related products to be sold in convenience stores, gas stations, and other retail establishments. And my understanding is that this is something that's very concerning to law enforcement. Where are you on this?
Well, we've been in talks with different people about this, and the chiefs across the state do have concerns. Of course, now, we've got a lot of different things that are coming out of the convenience stores. I like to call them convenience store pharmacies. We've got some crazy stuff out there. We fought the battle with Kratom and things like that. And there's still, we get something, we get an ordinance against one thing, and they change the recipe, and there's something different that our ordinance doesn't apply to. So we've been fighting the battle for several years. As far as, our big concern now is of course, the hemp drinks. I think 1502, House Bill 1502, it does, try to get some of the stuff that I'm talking about in these convenience stores. It does help us in that fact. But we go back, you got the hemp drink.
Right.
1502 basically says the hemp drink is a light wine, light beer, whatever. They'll be regulated just like beer. So
let me stop you there and ask you a question about that. So you have alcohol percentage content limits on beer and light wine that can be sold, and those are regulated. This is not alcohol. This is THC limits that are part of these hemp drinks. And I think it's a maximum of 0.3% in terms of content by volume. What does that mean when you look at that in terms of impairment for people that are driving or in public areas?
Well, I mean, basically, just like you said, the alcohol percentage-wise and all that. I'm not a chemist. I don't know. All I know is THC is involved in the hemp drinks. No matter what the percentage is, that's not going to stop that guy from drinking more than he's supposed to. So, that's one of the problems that I have with it, as far as coming out of a convenience store. and there's not. You can go in there and buy whatever you want to buy, and uh, that 0.3 is per can, per bottle, whatever, however it's packaged. But that's not going to have an effect when that person drinks more than he should. I mean, he's
In the
going to be
same way that,
intoxicated.
sure. And I mean, I guess it would apply differently to different people, but in the same way that one person can drink 3 beers and it has no real effect on them, but 12 does, whereas one can of hemp drink or 2 or whatever might have an effect on somebody, but they still might drink 8 of them or 6 of them. And I may be speaking ignorant when I explain it that way, but I guess the principle or the idea remains the same.
Absolutely. And that's one of the concerns. And then there's, of course, 1502 addresses some of the manufacturing stuff and how much supposedly, because right now you've got stuff in these convenience stores that you might go buy. There might be 2 items sitting side by side that are packaged exactly the same. And if you do send it to be tested,
Mm-hmm.
probably those 2 things are not going to have the same amount of THC in them. It'll be different because most of that stuff is not regulated whatsoever.
But that's part of this bill, right? I mean, there's supposed to be regulation
Right.
and testing and uniformity. Do you think this will actually do that? If the regulation is put in place, is that going to solve the problem of what is in the drink, all of the ingredients that are in the drink, and the levels? Will it be consistent?
Well, if the way the bill's written, it should do that. It should do that. Now, I'll say this: I'm gonna speak as the chief of Pontotoc, not as the
Okay.
chief, not as the president of the association.
All right.
We had a when medical marijuana, when we voted on that, when that
Mm-hmm.
was passed, each city and county had the option to opt out or opt in. We had a clear mandate here in the city, and we don't have dispensaries, and we don't have any. We opted completely out of medical marijuana here in Pontotoc.
Okay.
Other cities opted in, of course, and but we had a clear mandate here. One of the things, and I'm gonna go to the Chiefs Association. We've been in discussions, and actually we met with some legislators yesterday, and had a discussion about 1502, and basically, as far as the Chiefs Association is concerned, what we ask for to be put in the bill was to have a local option.
An opt out.
So exactly, if Pontotoc, if in 1502, if it goes into effect, we want the option to say we just don't want it here, period.
Right.
And
But as the bill exists right now, that option does not exist. There is no opt out that is in the
Right.
bill as it exists right now. Correct?
That's correct. That's correct. And part of that opt out language that we wanted to do, of course, on medical marijuana, you had to have a referendum. You had to have a vote, a citywide vote. And we've plowed that ground with medical marijuana. So one of the things that we asked for as an association is that opt-out language should be that we present the case to the city council or the board of aldermen, and they make the decision without a referendum.
Does it feel to you like the legislature is listening to law enforcement?
I, you know, in the perfect world, and I'm speaking as chief of Pontotoc, and I think I'm also speaking as the president of the association. Perfect world, we would say, of course, there was a bill introduced. I don't know what the number was. There was a bill introduced earlier in the session that completely done away with all of it, and that measure died. So now we're at the point where, right, and now we're at the point where the bill. Don't get me wrong, the bill is good in some sense as far as it gets rid of a lot of stuff. But just like one of our chiefs said yesterday, we're doing away with some of it, but we're not doing away with all of it.
Sure.
So,
Chief, unfortunately, we are out of time. We're up against a break. I thank you so much for your time this morning.
Okay.